Because if they were natural, they would long ago have been brought down and sucked in by gravity and crashed. The fact that they're still there puzzles everybody. So the Russians said, we're going to land on Phobos. It's about 12 miles in diameter. I think Deimos is only about 6 or 7. And they were going to take some pictures of the surface. Well, you know, apparently the intelligences up there decided, no, you're not going to do that, and bumped Phobos, the satellite that the Soviets sent up, knocked it out of orbit, and it crashed, apparently.
But they've been doing that to the JPL craft going up and around Mars for
years
now.
There is an intelligence on Mars that wants to limit our access to their reality. And they've done a damn pretty good job of it.
Well, our witness, Henry Deacon, and I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I'm familiar with him. I don't know him well.
Okay. He has said that the Anunnaki are on Mars in
they
bases.
Are. I agree with that.
So are they the ones shooting down those objects, you know, the various
probably.
craft from JPL and so on?
Look, Zechariah has said, and I know this old man, I respect him tremendously. He says they never left. They withdrew overtly from their activities on the planet with us, but their activities have continued covertly, both on Earth, the Moon, and Mars. And from the knowledge I have and the limited amount of information I've been able to get, that the primary focus, the primary intelligence behind all of this are the Anunnaki. The same group that genetically engineered us so many thousands of years ago.
Okay, but you've got Enki and Enlil, right? And these are warring brothers, and one is working for the positive side of humanity.
Well, you had this dysfunctional family. They even went to war with each other. And man was in the middle, as he always has been. You know, we were a product of their engineering. They engineered us as a slave species. They engineered us to work for them.
But aren't they still at war?
Apparently there is still, and some of our remote viewers, and I know a few of them, I've done a little of it myself. And believe me, it works.
Mm-hmm.
I've been accused of being guilty of front-loading, so to speak, because when I want to look at something, I know what I want to look at. The military originally trained their guys to not know what they were looking for, and then they would download, you know, compare and such.
Right.
But when I want to look at something, I know exactly what I want to look at. One of the greatest, of course, is Ingo Swann.
Oh, absolutely.
A tremendous guy. What an intellect that guy
Oh,
is.
Incredible. We're dying to interview him. Do you know him?
Well, he and I have corresponded. I wrote a nice article about him one time, years ago.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote me a letter and thanked me for it and told me he appreciated
Lovely.
it a lot.
Yes.
But he is a rare man. He's a rare intellect.
Yes.
Not only is he probably the best remote viewer we've ever had, perhaps other than Pat Price,
Right.
that Ingo's come up with stuff on the moon. That you have to read his book.
Actually, I have.
Penetration.
Yes.
It's dynamite.
And it's hard to get a hold of, I
Yeah,
understand.
it should be reissued because it'd sell like hotcakes.
Absolutely.
I spoke about it on Coast to Coast a couple of times with Art Bell, and apparently it became so damn hot that you can't find a copy any $200 or $300 each if you can find one.
Yeah. Well, I have. I don't know if I still have it, but I had one.
Yeah. Well, hold on to it. It's gold.
Uh-huh.
But Ingo is gold himself.
Okay, but let's kind of like move back to the question because I want to sort of drill down to this answer. So they're still at war.
They still have a difference of opinion about us. Now, whether Enlil and Enki, he goes by two names,
Okay.
whether they still are alive or not,
Right.
with the genetic geniuses that they have been, that they are, they can genetically manipulate, they ingeniously genetically manipulated their own chromosomes, DNA, till they literally have become practically immortal. Now, I wouldn't be a bit surprised that Enki and Enlil may still be alive. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're running around with a cane like I do, and grunting and groaning. You know, they got the great grandkids doing the running, and I don't know that, and I'm sure that no one else does. But apparently, the factions are still divided, and the one side wants to use us, as they always did, and the other side wants to give us the opportunity to be our own species, to chart our own future, and to to determine our own lives. Mm-hmm. And there apparently has been difference of opinion going on. So
when we get back to the national security state and the state of the U.S. right here and now, I mean, you're an ex-military. I hardly want to call you ex because I think you're in some ways probably still consulted here and there. We're about to go to war with Iran. What's your perspective on this? We're not?
No, we're not.
Okay.
And that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. And for whatever it's worth,
Sure.
I have a half penny in my pocket. I don't believe that we're going to have a nuclear war because I don't think the custodians will allow it. Right. The planet is too valuable. It's too rich a reservoir of life. Not only the humans here on this planet, but all the other creatures. This planet is an absolute cornucopia of beautiful, beautiful forms of life. And not only that, but the fauna and the what's the other term?
Flora.
The flora.
Uh-huh.
The flora is infinite almost.
Yeah.
No, the planet's too valuable.
Okay.
They've got a lot invested in planet Earth, and they're not about to let it go to a nuclear war because they have the power to see that it does not happen. And I want to tell you something else. You've heard this old rumor about the Prime Directive? Mm-hmm. Bullshit. It doesn't exist.
Right. Okay.
They have been interfering here, breaking the so-called Prime Directive over the centuries, so thousands of times. They have been interfering, according to our historical records, back to ancient Greece. They probably had a hand in that damn dust-up at Troy. Mm-hmm. They took sides. There were even rumors in Homer's reports that the gods themselves came down and took sides and played in the game. To them, it's a game.
Right. Well, the Bhagavad Gita, if you're familiar with it, I mean,
filled with it. The Vedas are filled with it, you see.
Absolutely.
Richard Thompson is a genius. He's written a book about it.
Oh.
Alien Identities, it's called.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Read it if you get a chance. Richard Thompson.
Okay, now I'm going to change gears.
He worked with Cremo on the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were jointly wrote that book on the hidden history of the human race.
Oh, okay.
Cremo and Thompson wrote that. Well, Richard wrote a book of his own called Alien Identities, and it's filled with Vedic facts, which you would enjoy.
Yes.
But the history's pretty clear. They've intervened over the centuries, again and again and again, wherever it seemed appropriate to their benefit on their behalf. And they've gotten in our wars. They've messed around in that whole mess.
Okay, but what about Planet X?
Oh, it's a reality.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what are they going to do about that?
Well, apparently they are concerned about, you know the story. According to Sitchin and according to the Sumerians, it's a reality. Mm-hmm. Well, our astronomers apparently have concluded that it is indeed a reality. For almost a century, astronomers have been concerned and interested about what they called an intruder that seems to come and go from time to time, and they can measure it by the perturbations and the effects on other planets. They've known its existence for a long time, but they've never gone public about it. Well, in the early 80s, the JPL, the guys at Joint